All right, so I've been putting some electronics into the OmniBot. So what I have is a board here. Let me sort of stick it out the front. There we go. Let's stick it out the front. So the H bridge and the microprocessor and everything, the Wi-Fi, everything's hooked up here. So it goes back, and the H bridge runs the two motors. There's a connector for the lights on the top, which we'll just connect with a wire. And then now I need to worry about the power supply. It doesn't have a battery anymore. So what I've done is a couple things. I've decided to use these lithium batteries that went off a quadcopter. So I have, well, let me show you what I've got. All right, this is out of a flight kit that I have for the quadcopter. So I've got multiple battery packs here, 2.2 amp hours. And I've got a fancy charger that does balancing and everything else. So I've got this. I've got this really old Craftsman toolbox from my dad, and it's nice because it's metal and I can charge the batteries in here. And if they catch on fire, well, it's not gonna burn down the house. So anyway, I've got that. So I'm going to use one of these batteries, and I can charge it. All right, so that's just going to kind of flop around in here. There's a door that goes on the back, but I'll just be able to connect these together and power the thing up, and it should run. Now, this is kind of the wrong voltage. It'd be nice if it was a 7-volt battery, and then I can just run it as is, but it's an 11-volt battery. And so I'm going to have to put in some extra circuitry here. Let me lean it over. There we go. Can you see in there? Let me change the... Yeah, there we go. So there's a board here that brings in the 11 volts and regulates it down to 8 volts. I have these LM, this is LM, 7808s. I don't know why I have 7808s, but I do. So that takes the 11 volts down to 8 volts for the system. So the motors will run on 8 volts, the lights will run on 8 volts, everything will run on 8 volts. If I hook up the speaker eventually, it'll have an 8 volt supply for it and everything. All right, so the 8 volts then comes into the main board. Is that gonna focus? Maybe, maybe. All right, so that comes into the H bridge. And so I've got 8 volts on it. Now it has a 5-volt regulator, and it can supply 5 volts to the ESP32, which has its own regulator that takes down to 3.3. So it goes to 11, to 8, to 5, to 3.3. Not very efficient, but that's the way it is. So that's the way it's going to work. When I hook up the battery, I have a LED on here that's wired in parallel with that top dome, so I can just watch that it's flashing, and every time it receives some data it flashes. So yeah, so I say let's see if this thing works. All right, I'll take my controller here and turn it on. That thing down there is already on, and hopefully they'll pair. There we go. And if I hit the one button, nothing. Oh, there it goes. There we go. I hit this button and it went forward. If I hit this button, it should go backwards. It's sort of going roundabouts. This should go right. Okay, this should go left. And it sort of does. It's like one of the motors isn't quite working quite right. And yeah, not quite sure why reverse isn't working right. But forward works, so both motors are able to run. Why can't it run backwards? That's really weird. All right, so one thing I've noticed though is it's just rebooted. I could see the lights flash down there. And so it has noise problems. There's too much motor noise getting into the ESP32. So I'm gonna have to redo my power supply to get it clean. But anyway, we have a working example of controller talking on the ESP Now network, giving commands directly to the OmniBot. It's decoding those, and doing what I tell it to do. So right now I just have the 4 buttons, left, right, up and down, or forward, backwards, right, left. And yeah, so it's just working pretty good. All right, well, one of my data lines wasn't toggling, and I think it might have been, you get these modules and sometimes some of the data pins are assigned for something already, and I think that pin was. So anyway, I moved it over and put it on a different pin. So now I can go and I can turn. Everything's looking good. I also did one other thing is I modified the power supply here. I don't know if you can see it, but right there is a DC to DC converter. So it's taking that battery voltage and converting it to 5 volts. I'm running the microprocessor off of a clean 5 volts. It doesn't go through the motor, just in case there was any glitches and stuff. I think that could have been a problem, but anyway, it's different now.